Hello, Your Excellency.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Kai. How are you?
Hi there, we're
Very
great.
well.
Thank you for joining us. We hope that you're safe out there as well, as we've seen that a lot of locals in Sri Lanka have toured the presidential residence with their families as well, at that, after the location was stormed by protesters. Now, can you explain to us how the situation got that dire to begin with?
Well, actually, the the mass demonstration happened on 9th of July, last Saturday. A day before, we already been informed as well. We know that there will be a big demonstration, and it's true on the day itself, on the 9th of July, there are thousands of Sri Lankan coming to Colombo to do the demonstration in order to asked the president to resign, president and the prime minister. The situation at that time, well, a lot of people, but actually on the ground, when we observe the situation, still okay, still conducive. A lot of crowd, as you see in many pictures, maybe. But at the same time, there is no anarchies or anything that happened in the city during our monitoring the situation.
If you could just, refresh to us because we have been following this particular update for over a month now, really. And what are the exact demands of protesters that have been protesting for so long until, the president finally decides to step down?
Well, people demand for the resignation of the president as well as now with the prime minister because the previous prime minister already resigned. So now is the prime minister of Ranil. Well, it happens because of the crisis, economic crisis in Sri Lanka. As we can see, there is so scarcity of essential needs, and especially on the petroleum and also on the gas. And also, last time also we experienced a lot of time about the electricity cut at the same time, but now it's going back, it's getting better. So with that situation, so many problems in the country, they have to queue many hours and even some many days as well. So make the people angry about the kind of situation. So they claim that the president should resign. That they claim that responsible for this situation.
Your Excellency, you mentioned the economic meltdown. Let's talk about that a little bit. There has been huge pressure on the public so far, and as well for the Sri Lankan government, as many are struggling, as you mentioned, to obtain even basic necessities such as food, fuel. I've even read somewhere that the government is planning to even just print money just to pay the salaries for those that are due, just so they can basically shop for those necessities. And I've heard as well that 2 days ago, on July the 10th, was actually the absolute hard line where absolutely everything would run out, such as fuel would no longer be allowed to be sold after that day because they would completely have run out. Can you give us an update what the current condition is like over there right now, including for Indonesian nationals that are over there?
Well, Paul, actually, the situation now is going under control, what I can see, because now the petroleum is coming already. The gas also is already been arrived in the country. Even the gas, the government predict in a month's time there will be a solution for this. The petroleum as well, through the private sector as well as the government, is now under on the way as well. Hopefully this situation will also make the situation getting better, in my opinion. And of course, for our Indonesian people, as we always monitoring them, they also still have difficulties about the petroleum and also the gas. But maybe the distribution will be able to reach them in a few days more, hopefully. But they are fine. They are okay actually because we also monitoring them about their ability to cope with this economic crisis.
Glad to hear it.
Glad to hear that they're still okay there. Now, speaking of Indonesia and Sri Lanka, Indonesia's main export to Sri Lanka last year included 70.6 million US dollars of coconut oil, 32.7 million US dollars of natural rubber, 30.1 million US dollars of semi-finished products made of iron and non-alloy steel, 22.3 million US dollars of Portland cement, and 16.9 million US dollars of manufactured tobacco. So what is the trade relationship currently like between Sri Lanka and Indonesia, especially amid this current crisis? Is there still a trade relationship? Are we still being able to meet the obligations of trade?
Yes, Kai. Because of the crisis, the governments have some policy in order to make sure they could cope with this crisis situation. First and most important, they make a ban to imported non-essential goods. So for that reason, and beside that, also because they have a lot of a very low foreign currency. So if not for essential goods, they usually don't try to import that. So that also affect our export to Sri Lanka. So by May this year, actually, we already experienced about 20.5% reduction compared to the same period last year. So I mean, it affects us as well. But at the same time, we still do manage to export some of our products here, especially for those needed by the country.
Yep.
Because for the consumer goods, non-essential, maybe that's not the case now. But for the production, for the industry, they still import from us some products that we can see in the trade transaction.
Right. Your Excellency, what can you tell us about Indonesian investments that are currently in Sri Lanka?
We don't have really big investment. We do have 2 or 3 companies, but it's a relatively small amount. But what we see, they don't really have any much effect because of this crisis. Because all the raw material, they still can get it from the country, so they can buy, even though maybe if they import from Indonesia before, it's not comfortable for them. But we also monitor them; they are fine also at this time.
Excellency, now that, just to continue and to conclude this discussion, now that the president and leadership decided to step down, and my question would be: there is an uncertain time and period here in Sri Lanka. What has the Indonesian embassy in Sri Lanka planned in case things would get worse in the upcoming days or weeks?
Well, as we have a plan, of course, we have a contingency plan in ensuring that we could cope with any kind of situation happening in the country. So that contingency plan, actually, we make it in the 4 step, stage 4, 3, 2, 1, and 1 is the most critical one. And for that, in case it happens, when there is no anything in the country that could support our people, so we will consider also for the evacuation. But until now, we don't have any plan for that because we are still in the stage 3, which is the second most difficult one. And for this, actually, for the stage 3, it's about when the crisis hit some of our people, not all of them.
Yep.
So in that case, we already communicate with them and we help them, and until now still manageable. So I think evacuation is still in the long run. We don't think about it now here.
Right. That's also good news to hear as well. Ibu Dewi Gustina Tobing, Your Excellency, thank you so much for joining us at this difficult time in Sri Lanka, but we are glad to see that things are on the up and up, and we do hope that the situation continues to improve. We hope that you stay safe out there, and hope to check in again with you soon.
Thank you, Excellency.
Take care.
Safe.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you, Brian.
All right. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day.